student. Today we are going to discuss two important concepts of economic anthropology. When we talk about the economic anthropology, it means economic anthropology is a combination of two different disciplines. One is economics and another is anthropology. And when we talk about the anthropology, anthropology is a branch of knowledge which deals with man and his all works. According to Herskovits, in his book Man and His Works, he defines that anthropology is a branch of knowledge that deals with man and his all works. All works means in totality. We studied man in anthropology. Anthropology is a branch. That word is derived from two different words, that is anthropos and logos. Anthropos means man and logos means science, that is a science of man. Similarly, Mazumdar and Madan in the book An Introduction to Social Anthropology defined that anthropology is a science that deals with man in its totality. Similarly, the second branch of this economic anthropology is economics. And when we talk about the economics, economics studied the three important elements. One is production, second is distribution, and third is consumption. It means economic anthropology is a combination of economics as well as anthropology and economics. In this branch of knowledge, Polanyi used two important concepts. One is formalism and second is substantivism. Formalism is a concept that is mostly used in capitalist society, and substantivism is used in pre-capitalist or pre-industrial or peasant or agricultural or primitive society. When we talk about the formalism and substantivism, refers to the two school of thoughts in economic anthropology, which were split into these two groups since the mid 1950s. When we talk about the economic anthropology, this is the combination of two disciplines, economics and anthropology. Overall, economics is the study of production, distribution and consumption of resources. It focuses on production, distribution and consumption within the industrial world, that is in capitalist society. Economic anthropology studies economics comparatively across industrial and non-industrial society in the world. And when we talk about the non-industrial society, means pre-capitalist society, or mostly we used primitive or peasant society. In anthropology, economics refers to the distribution, exchange and consumption of goods embedded in social, political and economic relations of reciprocity, exchange and consumerism. Economists, unlike economic anthropologists, use the same model broadly across all societies, that is cultural ignorance. Classical economic theory assumed that individuals universally acted rationally to maximize profit. In capitalist society, we desire more and more profit in market system or in economic system. Economic anthropology focuses on how a social group produces what it needs, wants and desires. How those goods are exchanged, that is in primitive society reciprocity is there, but in capitalist society market system is there. And the third, how these goods are consumed. According to our need, we consume the things according to our desire, according to our wants. The subject area of economic anthropology is fundamentally based on studying economic system in both Western market-based societies and their non-capitalist pre-industrial counterparts. It means we divide the society into two different parts. One is pre-industrial and second is industrial. One is capitalist and second is pre-capitalist society. The publications of trade and markets in the early empires, that is 1957, and other works involving Carl Polanyi, analytical schema, intensified theoretical controversies in economic anthropology that had much earlier origin. On one side, there are those societies which we call societies based on primitive and peasant economy, that is pre-industrial society, while on the other side there are those societies which are based on capitalist economy, that is industrial society. Malinowski, a great anthropologist, in his study of the Trobriand Islanders, states that the concept of economic man in traditional economic theory cannot be applied to primitive populations. Raymond Firth studied the Maori economy and argued that primitive man was an economic man. Primitive people have a rational choice that is built around a principle called the calculus of maximization, and formal economic theory can be applied to primitive economics. Carl Polanyi followed Malinowski. He proposed two meanings of the word economic, namely real and second formal. On the basis of studies in economic anthropology, Polanyi argued that two words are important in economics, that is formalism and substantivism. The formal sense refers to economies as the logic of rational action and decision making as a rational choice between alternative uses of limitations, that is scarce resources. However, the second substantive meaning assumes neither rational decision making nor situations of scarcity. There is no logical thinking and there is no situation of scarcity. It simply means the study of how humans live with their social and natural environments. जब हम बात करते हैं प्रिमिटिव सोसाइटी की, तो वहाँ पर न तो प्रॉफिट है, ना वहाँ अल्टरनेटिव चॉइसेस हैं, वहाँ पर जो कुछ है वो एनवायरनमेंट है, और ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द एनवायरनमेंट दे वांट टू फुलफिल देयर ऑल बेसिक नीड्स. A society's livelihood strategy is seen as an adaptation to its environment and physical conditions. On the basis of the environment, they want to fulfill their all biological, social, cultural or others needs. A process that may or may not involve utility maximization. Economic anthropology has two approaches for the study of economic life of the primitive and peasant people. These approaches are formalism and substantivism. The formalist approach emphasizes similarities across different economic systems and focuses on the formal properties of economic system, such as allocation of resources, distribution of goods and services, and the role of market. The formalist approach is based on the assumptions that economic system can be analyzed using universal economic principle regardless of cultural or historical context. On the other hand, the substantivist approach emphasizes differences in different economic systems and focuses on the specific historical, cultural and social context in which economic systems are embedded. The substantivist approach argues that economic systems cannot be understood using universal economic principle and must instead be studied in the specific context in which they occur. It means there are two different societies, one is primitive or peasant society and second is capitalist or industrial society. On the basis of the study of all these two societies, they develop two different approaches, one is formalism and second is substantivism. Now, what is formalism? Formalism is associated with the principles of capitalist economy that are different from those of pre-capitalist economies. It also means that the principles of a capitalist economy are universal, due to which non-industrial economies fall under the principles of a market economies. Formalists argue that the formal rules of neoclassical economic theory, derived primarily from the study of capitalist market societies, can be used to explain the nature and dynamics of non-capitalist economy. दो तरह की अर्थव्यवस्था है, एक अर्थव्यवस्था को हम आदिम अर्थव्यवस्था कहते हैं और दूसरे को आधुनिक, दैट इज मॉडर्न economic system, and the modern economic system is known as capitalist society or industrial society, in which production, distribution and consumption mostly based on market system, and the market economy is predominant economy in capitalist or industrial society. The proponent of the approach were Raymond Firth, Harold Snider, Scott Cook. In terms of formalist method or formalist model, this idea is most closely associated with neoclassical economics. Neoclassical economics means production, distribution and consumption is based on market system, which defines economics as the study of utility maximization. They want more and more profit, that is maximization under conditions of scarcity. Robbins says economics is the science that studies human behavior as a relation between ends and scarce, means having alternative uses. There are so many alternatives are there in capitalist economy, and according to our choice we use a alternative among the other alternatives. The formal approach has the following assumptions. In this approach, it is said that a person tries to maximize his utility by choosing among several alternative resources. बहुत सारे resources हैं और हमको ये सुविधा है कि हम उन्हीं में से कुछ अपने लिए उपयोग में ले सकते हैं. They can choose among alternatives the ones that maximize their utility or that provide a certain amount of utility for the मैक्सिमम रिक्वायर्ड इनपुट और फॉर एफर्ट्स. अधिक से अधिक हम लाभ कमाना चाहते हैं और स्कैरसिटी जहाँ कमी है उसी के आधार पर हम लाभ की कामना भी करते हैं. दैट इज व्हेन गिवन ए चॉइस इंडिविजुअल्स ट्राई टू मैक्सिमाइज देयर यूटिलिटी. इन वेइंग द कॉस्ट एंड यूटिलिटी ऑफ ईच रिसोर्स, इंडिविजुअल्स विल डू सो ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ रैशनल थिंकिंग. That is, they will use all available information and consider the opportunity cost involved compared to spending their time and effort on other utility maximize activities. Therefore, he will always think and calculate before taking action. To make rational choices, individuals will attempt to obtain all relevant information to the point where the opportunity cost of gathering information is equal to the additional utility gained from being able to make a better informed choice. बहुत सारी alternatives हैं और among the alternatives हम अपने लिए जब उपयोग में लेते हैं तो सभी तरह की information हम इकट्ठा करके फिर सोचते हैं किस संसाधन का उपयोग करने से हमको कितना अधिक लाभ मिलेगा. इसी का आधार है ये फॉर्मलिज्म. This implies that when presented with two similar options, the individual gathers all the information available to choose between the two. Most of the people live in a situation of lack of resources, but their desires are unlimited. This means that no commodity is freely available in unlimited quantities forever. This principle is essentially the reduction of marginal value underlying individuals' pursuit of utility maximization, meaning that acquiring more of a particular good or service only increases the utility or value of acquiring it up to a certain point. But when this point is reached, the overall utility obtained will actually decrease. For example, a certain amount of chocolate makes a good dessert, but too much of it will harm the stomach. Similarly, the right amount of water can ensure a good crop, while excess amount will drown it. Formalist Firth, that is Raymond Firth and Snyder, emphasize that the neoclassical model of economics can be applied to any society if appropriate modifications are made, arguing that the principles outlined above have universal validity. This means that all human cultures are a collection of individuals making choices whose every action involves a conscious or unconscious selection between alternative means to alternative ends. This is whereby goals are culturally defined goals. इसीलिए कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी में बहुत सारे हमारे पास अल्टरनेटिव्स हैं एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द अल्टरनेटिव्स वी यूज एनी वन ऑफ द अल्टरनेटिव्स दैट मे fulfill our desires, our wants or our needs. In general, for formalist, individual value maximization from scarce resources according to choice through logical reasoning of available information governs the economic life of all individuals. Its central assumption is that individuals will take rational choices based on all available information to maximize what they perceive to be valuable. While price parameters vary or change, the principles of economy and maximization still apply. अधिक से अधिक हम लेना चाहते हैं उन सारे रिसोर्सेज से जो हमारे पास अवेलेबल है, और इसके पीछे रैशनलिटी है, इसके पीछे तर्क है कि ये बेटर है इसके कंपेरिजन में, क्यों? बिकॉज देर आर सो मेनी अल्टरनेटिव्स आर देयर एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर डिजायर, अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर वांट्स और नीड वी यूज फॉर मैक्सिमाइजेशन. द फॉर्मलिज्म एंड द सेकंड concept, that is substantivism. Polanyi used these two different concepts, one from pre-capitalist and second is from capitalist. Pre-industrial, that is primitive or peasant society, and second is industrial society. The second concept is substantivism. The real meaning is that economy is an instituted process and human economy is embedded and entangled in entities like economic and non-economic, which implies providing goods and services to supply social and biological need. This meaning applies to all societies at all times in all places, because all people have to use resources to sustain themselves regardless of time and place. Western economic concepts such as profit, motive, savings, capital goods, etc. cannot be applied to non-industrial societies. Thus, the real meaning of economic makes it clear that man depends on nature and his fellow creatures for his livelihood, and this dependence provides him with material means to fulfill his need. कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी में लाभ की बात है अपनी अधिकांश आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति में मैक्सिमाइजेशन है, ये सब हमको प्री इंडस्ट्रियल प्री कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी में देखने को नहीं मिलता है। द प्रोपोनेंट्स ऑफ दिस अप्रोच वर कार्ल पोलानी, जॉर्ज डाल्टन, मार्शल सेहलीन। द सब्सटेंटिविस्ट position was first proposed by Polanyi in his work The Great Transformation. Here he argues that the term economics has two meanings. Formal meaning, economics refers to the logic of rational action and decision making, rational choice between alternative use of limited or scarce resources, and the second is substantive meaning. It simply means the study of how man makes a living from his social and natural environments. It assumes neither rational decision making nor situation of scarcity. In primitive society, there is no thinking about the scarcity or decision making. They want to fulfill their all needs on the basis of the social and cultural environment. For this group, a society's livelihood strategy is seen as an adaptation to its environment and physical conditions, a process that may or may not involve utility maximization. In the term the Great Transformation, Polanyi clarifies the division between modern market-dominated societies and non-Western, non-capitalist pre-industrial society. There is totally two different societies. One is pre-capitalist or pre-industrial, that is known as primitive or peasant society, and another is capitalist or industrial society. He argues that only economics is suitable for analyzing the latter, that is non-capitalist or non-pre-industrial society, that is non-Western societies. Formal economic analysis is not applicable without a system of price setting markets. For example, in centrally planned economies or pre-industrial societies. In such places, individual choice is not based on maximizing economic profits, but on social relationship, cultural values, ethical concerns, politics or religion. For example, most farmers and tribal societies produce for themselves and their families, also known as production for use or subsistence production, as opposed to production for exchange, whose main objective in a capitalist society is to maximize profit. जब हम बात करते हैं कैपिटलिस्ट सोसाइटी की तो वो सोचते हैं अधिक से अधिक पैसा कैसे प्राप्त करें, और जब स्कैरसिटी है तो भाव बढ़ जाएंगे. बट इन पीजेंट और primitive society, this type of thinking is totally absent. Polanyi states that the concepts of formalism and substantivism coincide in modern capitalist economies because people organize their livelihoods based on the principles of rational choice, whereas this assumption is not valid in primitive economies. Unlike their Western capitalist counterparts, they are based not on market exchange but on redistribution and reciprocity. Redistribution, gift system, reciprocity are the important part of peasant or primitive societies. In societies that are not market based, reciprocity or redistribution usually occur together. In contrast, in modern industrial societies, market exchange is seen as the dominant mode of integration, while reciprocity may continue in family and inter-household relations, and some redistribution is carried out by the state or charitable institutions. Each of these three systems of distribution requires a different set of analytical concepts. In primitive society, reciprocity, gift system, etc. are the predominant system of primitive or peasant economy. Embeddedness, a concept used by Polanyi. For Polanyi means that the economy is immersed in social relations. This implies that the economy is embedded in both economic and non-economic institutions rather than being a separate or distinct sector. This means that exchange occurs within society and is controlled by society rather than being located in a social vacuum. For example, religion and government may be as important to economics as economic institutions themselves. Socio-cultural obligations, norms and values play an important role in people's livelihood strategy. As a result, any analysis of economics as an analytically distinct entity separated from its socio-cultural and political context is flawed from the beginning. Therefore, a true analysis of economics would focus on the study of the various social institutions on which people's livelihoods are based. Polanyi's main argument is that institutions are the primary organizer of economic processes. The real economy is an established process of interaction between man and his environment, resulting in a constant supply of material means to satisfy wants. In primitive society, they are totally dependent on the natural environment or social environment, and they want to fulfill their all desires, all need through natural environment. That is why the economy is considered an established process. Polanyi wants to show how different these concepts is from the reality of human society throughout recorded human history. He insists that before the 19th century, the human economy was always embedded in society in what he calls the real economy. The human economy is embedded in economic and non-economic institutions. The inclusion of non-economic such as religion is important. Their purpose was to show how the economy is linked with other cultural institutions in different societies at a particular period, that may be family, religion, culture, tradition, customs, etc., etc. Polanyi emphasized institutionalism and social embeddedness to explain economies. He considered the economy in its basic sense as an established process of interaction between man and his environment, that is natural environment, social environment, resulting in a continuous supply of need satisfying material means. He states that as an established process, the human economy is embedded in and entangled in economic and non-economic institutions. The inclusion of the non-economic is important. He says that religion or government is the structure and functioning of economy, may be as important to the economy as the monetary institutions themselves or the availability of tools and machines which lighten the drudgery of labor. Polanyi's take on the terms embeddedness is to express his view that the economy is not as autonomous from society as classical economists would have us believe. Economy is always subordinate to politics, religion and social relations. He highlights how much of a departure the classical economists, especially Malthus and Ricardo, made with previous thinkers instead of the historical or historically common pattern of subordinating society to formalism and fundamentalism to the economy. Their system of self-regulating market required society to be subordinated to the logic of the market. In part 1 of the Great Transformation, he writes, This is ultimately why market control of economic system has tremendous consequences for the entire organization of society. It means nothing less than running society as an adjunct to the market rather than the economy being embedded in social relations. Social relations are embedded in economic system. Both are interrelated. Social relations are embedded in economy and economy is embedded in social relations. It means two important concepts we studied in economic anthropology. One is formalism, that is in capitalist society, and second is substantivism in pre-capitalist society. Now we can summarize that formalism and substantivism refers the two schools of thought in economic anthropology that split into these two groups from the mid 1950s onwards. Formalist argues that the principles of a capitalist economy are universal. That is, in all capitalist society we found this type of ideology, this type of thinking, thereby arguing for the universal applicability of capitalism and its associated ideology. Following Karl Polanyi, fundamentalists have criticized proponents of the formal logic of economics and argued for the production and distribution of goods and services in pre-capitalist economies through specific cultural context. Substantivists have classified the circulation of goods and services in any society into three forms, which are reciprocity, redistribution and exchange. Polanyi explained the capitalist mode of production in terms of a market economy and a market society, and that is distinguished it from other forms of economic organization primarily in terms of its lack of social embeddedness. In pre-capitalist economies, the process of production was primarily strongly embedded in a variety of institutions such as the family, neighborhood, community, etc. In fact, it was the inherentness of pre-capitalist production that led Polanyi to distinguish between different forms. On this basis, Polanyi classified his point of arguing that although it is often analytically difficult to separate production from other social activities, one can generally identify operating principles influencing the distribution of physical resources. However, the rise of capitalism separated material production from all extra economic institutions and led to the emergence of an autonomous market economy operating according to a profit maximizing economic logic. It means two important concepts we used or we studied in economic anthropology. One is formalism and second is substantivism. One is from the capitalist society or industrial society and second is pre-industrial or pre-capitalist, that is primitive and peasant society.